Hi, I'm Scott Rush, one of the writers of Habits of a Successful Beginner Band Musician, a comprehensive beginner band method, and our newest book in the Habit series. In this episode, I'm so excited to share with you our tutorial for Habits Universal Interactive and introduce you to our good friend, Jim Frankel from Music First. Before we join the tutorial, I want to provide some clarity on the terminology used in the session. The first is the method book, Habits of a Successful Beginner Band Musician. For students to access the free coaches videos for each exercise, they will need their access code contained on the inside front cover of the book. The second is Habits Universal, which is our website, habitsuniversal.com. There's a ton of free content on Habits Universal, including startup clinic videos, accompaniment tracks for each exercise in the book, 20 supplemental rhythm charts, drones, supplemental exercises for clarinets going over the break, duets, supplemental solfege exercises, individual videos of each exercise in the book, and much more. In addition, there are tabs for members of the Habits team and our resources in the series. The third reference is for Habits Universal Interactive, our premium content, which includes a back-end gradebook and video technology. That's what we're going to look at today. It can be accessed by clicking on the Habits Universal Interactive tab at the top right corner of habitsuniversal.com. Once you register, Music First will send all the information you need to log in and get started with your students. Be sure to watch all the way to the end of this tutorial where Jim explains the two-click method for importing your grades directly into your gradebook. Now, let's look at Habits Universal Interactive and join our good friend, Jim Frankel.
Okay, so I could see somebody already created something, which is great. Normally, you would see nothing here. There'd be like, you need to create a class. So the very first thing that a Habits user will need to do is make a class and get their students in. The best way to do that is and we have videos on how to do this. The best way to do that is for them to bulk upload all the students from one CSV file, one Excel spreadsheet, if you will, into a class. So I'm going to make a site right now, create a class. Let's say that this is my beginning band. I know you made one as well. And I'll say Mr. Frankel, create class. So I've created a class. I then go to my student management and I add my students. In this case, let me see what students I have in here. None. So I'm going to make a brand new student. And I'm going to call this student S. Rush. I know you already have an account, but I think you do. I'm going to just make a student in your name. So you can add them one at a time, but you can also bulk upload them. And there is a video. It's really, really simple. There is a user management tab where you can go to all users. And there's a bulk upload all users. You click on that and you can choose the CSV file. We give you a template to fill out. So that's the easiest way to do it. And then you upload it. And that's how you get all your students in. There is also, just so you hear it from me, any class that you're in. So I'll go to my class. In the student tab, there is an invitation button. If you click on that, and you say create invitations. In the COVID world, this is not the most ideal way to do it. But let's say I have 18 kids in this band. I click create invitations. It makes 18 invitations with Habits branding on it. And so then I can print all those unused invitations, and that really makes PDF. And I could distribute those PDFs. So there's the Habits logo. This is telling the kids exactly what website to go to and how to self-register. So that is an option. Those are, multiple PDFs. But I personally think, and what we will recommend, is that teachers just bulk upload using an Excel spreadsheet. It's by far the fastest way to get them in. So step
Okay.
one, create a class. Step two, upload your students, right? So before we go to step three, let me just show you what the software itself looks like. At the tops of the screen here, there is a software tab, and the only thing available is Practice First. When they click on that Practice First icon, it will bring them into a brand new version of Practice First, which only has the Habits of a Successful Band Musician available. There is no other content available. If you click on Premium, there's nothing. So this is a zero. The only thing in here is habits. Teachers can make their own examples. So teachers can do whatever they want and create. We thought that was a feature that should be there, that they can make their own exercises. But if you click on Habits of a Successful Band Musician, we have put 193 band director scores available. So I'm going to go, unless there's a specific one you want to see, I'll click on Largo from the New World Symphony Full Band. Now, right now, I'm in what's called the global launch of the software, so there is no assigning. I'm just looking around. I can play, I can record myself, but right now, and the students can do this as well, they can explore any content whenever they want, they can record it, they can get grades whenever they want, but I am in what is known as the global launch view, which means I'm not giving any of these grades. Whatever I do will not be turned into a teacher. So I'm going to go in and, hey, I'm a tuba player, so let me see what the tuba part looks like here. I can play it. It's really great that it's an audio recording and not synthesis. Okay, so there's also the ability to record. I don't have my tuba with me, but you'll see here that the cursor is on, and I know that that's something you don't want. There are ways, when you assign students the work, you can take that cursor right off. If I'm not 100% sure, I think you can get rid of it. Let me just see, hold on one sec. There in the backing track, you can turn the cursor off. That's where they built that feature just for you guys, that show cursor. So if I take that away and I click play, it's only when they record is that cursor gone. So here we go. Give me 2 measures for nothing. All right, that's fabulous. So the cursor was not there. I only played 41%, but what I did was fabulous. I'm very excited about that. So that record is there. There's also the record video button, okay, which I don't really want to. I'm sorry for the backlighting, but the record video is exactly the same thing, but I'm now playing my tuba and being recorded at the same time and being assessed at the same time. So the round record is just audio. The record video, it should be pretty self-explanatory. There is a zoom in, a zoom out. I'm just showing you, this is on the music. And there's a quick reset to go back to the original size, which is very helpful. There is the ability, when you're just doing the global launch version, for you to adjust the tempo as much as you want, right? So you can speed it up, slow it down. This, again, to be clear, is only when you're using this not to be graded, just to practice, to play around with it. There is the tracks button, and in this case, there's a whole bunch of things. And this, to be honest, I haven't heard what the team from Estonia put in here. So,
can I ask you a quick question?
Absolutely.
So, if I'm recording a video for the teacher, like the mode that we're in right now, and you probably will get to this, but will the feedback that just showed up with the grades for right notes, rhythms, and duration, will that appear on the screen as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly what you saw will be there, and but that video preview is so the kids can see themselves. But yes, the grading, the circles, the delineation of the length played, rhythm score, and pitch score will be there. Right, so you can play around with these. I haven't had the time to go in and play all this, but all right. So let's hear the demo audio. Let's hear the backing track. So that's pretty cool. They've got all the recordings in there. That's a really nice, that sounds beautiful. So the tracks is just a way for you to, it's almost like a mixer, this track button, so you can hear all the different things. Again, this is me just playing around. This is not me doing an assignment. And it is the backing track is where that show cursor is. Do I want to hear the backing track? The metronome being on means that the cursor is literally following the metronome. And if you fall behind, you fall behind. By the way, if you fall behind, you are marked wrong, but not on pitches, but on your tempo. Your tempo is marked wrong. It does not, like on smart music, for example, the minute you fall behind, every note from there on in is wrong. With that metronome mode, it wants you to follow the metronome, but if you start falling behind, the pitches are still correct. It's just that you'll see the tempo score go down, which is pretty cool. And then, cool. Go ahead.
That is cool.
Yeah, and then the more button is where, actually, it looks like it's redundant. Yeah, it's the same kind of menu. There's a general. You could decide whether or not you want to see the music as a page or whether you want to see it as scrolling, kind of like the Guitar Hero view, if you will. So there's all kinds of stuff in here. Pretty cool. There's simple feedback, which just does, the simple feedback, just so you're aware, has no variance in the horizontal line at all. It's just, did they play the right pitches? You know, did they play the right rhythm? So the full feedback, in our opinion, is much richer because it also has the variation in the horizontal axis, which is your tempo variation. And you can download it. You can download the audio recording. You can add it to a favorite. But again, right now, I'm only in the global launch version of it. What I'd like to do now is show you what teachers are actually going to do with this, is they're going to make assignments in here. So this is exactly what teachers will do. You click on the plus sign. There's the create task here. And this is from the class dashboard. You always have to be in the class with your students in when you make a task. If you make a task outside of a class, it's literally an orphan task, and you think that kids are going to do it, but they won't. So within a class, and you know that you're in a class by this little red header here, that's the name of your class, there is a create task button on the right-hand side in the right column where you can just click create, but there's also the plus sign here on the left, so it's redundant. It's just whichever way you like. I personally prefer going this way, create task. So once you do that, let's say that this is intro lesson number 1, all right? This, or to not confuse things, intro exercise number 1, all right, just for about the nomenclature. It's going to say, because you have your class here, you know you're in that class. Right now, we're not in any unit. We're just making an exercise for our kids to do. Task type is always going to be music first software, always. You can do other things, which is really nice. But for the purposes of Habits Universal, it is music first software, and it is practice first. On all Habits sites, you will only have practice first as an option. So I'm going to say, complete this exercise. Do your best. Okay? Obviously, you can a teacher will give them whatever direction they want. Just know that you can also add pictures, you could add YouTube videos, you can add audio files, anything that you see up here with links to other pages. You can make this look all kinds of pretty if you really want to. But for me, I'm just saying complete this exercise and do your best. You can decide when you want this to be due, right? So let's say that you're currently teaching and you want this due this Friday, September 4th. You can choose what time it is. This visible to students is the default when you're creating a task. If you uncheck it, a great way to front load and do all of these tasks ahead of time when you have quote unquote free time, and then you can make them visible one by one later, which is really good for front loading. Assign to all in class. If you uncheck this, you can assign it to specific students. You can also, and I'll show you a little bit, in student management, you can make student groups. So let's say you were teaching flutes and you have beginning flutes, like the very first year, then you have some other kids who may have been on clarinet and now they switch to flute. They're kind of the beginner, you know, like a little intermediate, you know, advanced beginner. You can make as many groups as you'd like and create assignments for individual students, groups of students, or the default, everybody in that class. Then you folks will have only, I believe, right now, the habit sites that went out the door do not have any standards selected. Those teachers can do that if they'd like, and that is, they can enable their state standards, also the national standards. And then the grading is the last bit, and for practice first, it always grades on a scale of 100. So it's easiest to put in a 100. You can change that if you really want to. So now that I've done that, I click Create Task. So again, I just filled out, it's very logical, I filled out every bit of that form. Now here I am in what is known as the task page, intro exercise number 1. I don't have any students in here right now. There's a description I typed in. The most important thing that you're ever gonna do on our site is attach this task to the actual content in Habits Universal. So I'm gonna click Open in Practice First. For the purposes of this recording, please know that there's a lot of content in here that Habits Universal customers will not see. This is the default view, and the only thing that Habits customers will see is habits of a successful beginner band musician. That's it. Only thing that'll show up. So sorry for the confusion if you're watching this recorder later. I'm going to click on that. Now this lesson was intro exercise number 1. And now I can look and see all of the content from Habits Universal is here, and it's divided up by page number, right? So there's a lot of stuff in here. I said this was an intro exercise, so I'm literally going to example number 1. Okay? When I do that and click on it, it opens up the full score view for the page. I can play it. Now for teachers, this is really it. If they are making a group assignment, like for the entire band, all you need to do is click Assign to Student. If you were making it for a small group of students like flute, you would select flute first and then click Assign to Student. But because I am making this assignment for everybody, I keep it on this multiple, which we had to use that word multiple instead of full score for a variety of reasons that I won't go into, but that just means multiple instruments. So this is the full score, and I'm clicking Assign to Student. I click, it confirms it by saying, do you want to create an assignment? There are advanced options here. Just to quickly go over those, you do not need to click these, but just to show you, this score goal, just to talk from a philosophical standpoint for a moment, this was my doctoral dissertation. I do not believe that the goal should be a 100. The goal should be, the teacher can set a kind of a pace and say, look, I just want you to practice this. You know, it's up to the teacher. You can put 100 in here, but if you change it to 80, what that means is, I want you to get at least an 80 before you turn it in. If you want, you can make that 100 and say you cannot turn this in until 100. Please understand that computers are fallible. Even though we think that they're amazing, they are fallible. And that means that to get a 100 is almost impossible on any software. It doesn't matter if it's Smart Music or Practice First, it doesn't matter. It's very difficult. So what I do is, look, hey kid, try to get an 80 or above if you want to turn this in. And the teacher has full control. They can say, no, I'm going to make this an 88. The kid has to have an 88 to be able to turn it in. Just so you know, if the student score is below that 88, the score is bright yellow, and it tells the students try again. The student can actually submit it if they really want to. If that's it, and we put that in there as a fail-safe, let's say a kid's about to cry, they've tried and tried and tried, and flute is just not for them, they can submit the score if it's under that threshold. Just know that the software will tell them, this isn't quite what the teacher had in mind. Are you sure you really want to turn this in? And if the kid goes, yes, I'm done, that's fine. I just wanted to explain what that goal is. The default is 90, so I'll keep it there for now. This grading algorithm for elementary students, it's really a good idea to throw it over to easy. gives the kids a lot of lateral, if you will, or a lot of wiggle room in terms of getting a good score. Do not go to hard. That is meant for like advanced high school students, and it's extremely difficult. You basically have to play. You can't even take a 30-second note breath. So keep it at medium or easy. I would go at elementary level at easy. Tempo goal just means I'm basically, you can slow the tempo down if you want to, but it'll also be yellow. So by the tempo goal saying, I want you to play it at least at a 100. If you turn this off, the students can change the tempo to whatever tempo they want, and they will not be alerted or told, hey, you change your tempo. I personally, with younger students, I have no problem with turning the tempo goal off, but it's really up to the individual teacher preference. All right, playing mode. What the playing mode means is that when the kids are playing, if you leave it at any mode, that is the default. That means that the kids can choose whether they want free mode with the metronome or with a backing track. If you are like adamant that they do it with the backing track, you can do that, but you have to do that every time. It is not the default. The default is letting the kids pick. So with backing, they'll hear the backing track while they're playing. And I would assume that that's what you'd want. Completely up to you. Again, any mode allows the teacher to make that decision.
Yeah, we'll allow the teacher to make these corrections.
All right, great. And then special, you're not going to use. Sight reading basically means they can't hit the play button. The play button is disabled. And memorization mode means the minute they click record, the music disappears from the screen. So we'll just click it, keep it at regular. And the attempts limit means, look, we're going to give you 5 shots. You can change this. Hey, you get 3 tries. You have to choose one. But we keep the default as off so that the kids can keep trying as many times as they'd like. Mm-hmm. Just wanted to explain what that is. I'm going to click add. And now this window will close automatically. Now this is finished. It's done. That assignment is ready to go. All right, so I'm going to make a student real quick just to show you what this looks like. I'll call him student 1. All right, so now what I'm going to do is make a new window. I'm going to go into the authoring site. If I remember correctly, it's student 1. All right, so when I come into the site, I see that I have a class. Obviously, it would be the name of the class that the kid is actually in. I'm going to click Habits Universal. And it says I have intro exercise number 1 to complete. So I'm going to do that. Complete this exercise, do your best, exactly what I typed. And it should take me to that first exercise. Just to show you what it looks like from the teacher's perspective, though, I'm going to go back into my Habits Universal. You see there's nothing to grade because it is auto-graded. I'm going to go to my gradebook, and you'll see that I actually got 100. I'm so excited. If I want to see what that actually looks like, you click on this little paper clip. I click on the paper clip, and it will show me the video as well as the visual representation of the music. I'm really sorry to do that to you, but I can play it back. I'll do another one right now where I will, I'll do another assignment and change around the settings just to show you what it looks like. I'll call this one take 2. Practice first. Do it again. All right. Again, the assignment, I'm going to make this do, sorry, there we go, September 3rd. And I'll make it worth 100 points. It's funny, this little Zoom bar is just always in my way. Create task. All right, so this time, again, I open it in practice first. Again, the only thing that teachers will see here, literally the only piece of content is the habits book. So ignore all of this. So I'm going to now do example number 2. I'm not going to hit any advanced options. I'm just clicking assign to student. This is what teachers will do. assign to student, add. That's all they're going to do. All right, I touch nothing other than just do that. So that is the total default setting. So now when I go back in as Stu, there's take two. And I'll show you what Stu has the ability to do because the default is any mode. So from here, so I'm turning the metronome on right now and I'm clicking record. So it should play the whole way through the metronome. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. All right, so
Your score.
there's the score, and the cursor didn't appear, and the metronome showed up. So I'm excited. I got a 99. I'm going to submit that. So I'm doing this one more time. I'm making a third one, and this I'll make a video. Habits. Okay, I'm going to go to something a little more further down the road. I'll do leapfrog. Again, I'm going to click assign to student. And this time I'm going to look in that, I'm going to put the metronome on in the playing mode automatically. Set the grading to easy again, and I'm going to click add. All right, now what I'm going to do is go in as that student. Third time's the charm. I'm going to make a video recording. Now what you'll see here, Scott and Reet, is that in the tracks, if you remember, there was an additional button afterwards that said backing. That backing button is not here now. Right? So
because the teacher went ahead and set it to metronome.
Okay.
I'm going to do trombone. Now look under here. There is a, once I've done that, this more button shows up the backing track. And there's that cursor. So the teacher set metronome, but they can turn off the cursor under the more button. So that's good to know.
Okay.
I'm going to click on record.
Hey Jim, can you mess up a little so we can see what that looks like?
Bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum. Sorry about my no perfect pitch. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. All right, so it says I got an 87 out of 90. So if I go underneath here, if you mouse over it, it tells you exactly what you did wrong. All right? So all along here, it's telling me what I did wrong.
Yep.
You get the idea. If I come back in here as the teacher, on the task page itself, I don't have to go to the gradebook. The task page itself has that 87 there. I can click on this and get right to exactly that horrible video of me. And I can play it. All right, great. That's fabulous. If I go to the gradebook, I only have one student right now. They've done 3 assignments, 199 and 87. You'll also see right here that all these grades are hidden. Just explaining why we do that. You can turn that whenever you want. If you click on this, you could say show grade. The reason that we always hide them by default is we want the teacher to be able to have the opportunity to go in and make sure that that is the right grade before they're given their final grade. Because what if you say, well, let me go in and see what this kid did, right? You can click on the paperclip and then manually change the grade here to a 92 because you know that their parents are going to get really mad at an 87. You do whatever you want so that we don't publish the grades until you want them to see them. So now I can click show grade, right? I can click show grade. And you can do that on the task when you set it up. You could say make grades visible, but I like to hide it until I'm ready to share the grades with them. The kid knows that when they turned it in, they should have seen their grade and click submit, but you can go in and change it and add comments and do that kind of thing. Just quickly, to add a comment to a grade, you actually have to go into the task itself. So that's the gradebook. This is where you add the comments in the task page. And if the kid did it and it was total garbage and you're like, that is unacceptable in my program, you can click clear submission and it reassigns them the exact same thing again. Right? That's a really helpful thing. Rather than having to make a whole new assignment just for that one kid, you just click clear submission. And it does say, are you really sure? Yes, I am. And that clears it. What that does is now when I go back in as a kid, just to show you, if I refresh this page, you know, that task is now cleared submission, means I have to do it again. So I go in and I'm not going to subject you to that, but you get the idea. Right now, we don't have a specific habits video, but it's the same thing. It's the same concept where they, in the tutorials, I show them 2 things: how to bulk upload their students, how to get their students into here, right, adding students to a class. And then there's a practice first tutorial, which is completely relevant to the content. It's just a different piece of content that they're going to be having access to. So this video is, I think, 5 minutes long, 9 minutes long. This is an in-depth tutorial on how to do everything I just showed you. And I put that tutorial video in the welcome message that I send to the customers. So that's like the first thing they see. So they can go in, like if you go in here and play.
When teachers and students play and exercise.
Showing you that backing track metronome just like I showed you. So that video is there. And that's the first thing customers see when they hear from us, is that those 2 videos, how to get your students in here and how to use practice first. Now, when they're done, there is an export button here that will export all the grades. All right, so this is our grade book. Again, what I just said was you can make this look really pretty so that all the exercises are in order. They can be grouped by different like concepts. It can look really, really good. So let's say that this student, I'll just put some grades in here. Scott has done very well. He's got a 96 on this and he got 100 on that. All right, so I've got these grades. I can just click export. And what that does is it downloads a CSV file with every student and all their grades. The gradebook is also cool because you can click on any student's name and you get their digital portfolio of all their work that they've ever done for you with all the submissions in one easy spot. So this is great for teachers to be able to look at or to be able to show parents. Hey, let me go in and hear what this sounded like. But that CSV file that was downloaded can be imported into literally any gradebook except Google Classroom because they don't use, at least to my knowledge, they don't use CSV file imports. But that's Canvas, Schoology, whatever, the Infinite Campus, Power School, eSchool Backpack, whatever a school is using for their report cards, these grades can be imported into it.
Just by hitting the export button.
That's all you need. You export it and then import it. It's a 2-step process.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
As you can see, Habits Universal Interactive and its innovative technology is a game changer for those of you teaching first and second year band students. We are so excited about our new beginner band method book and hope you will consider using this revolutionary method with your students.